shit balls in my cock all over the place. Don't laugh at that. Come on, we can't.
You want to have... Okay, sorry. I'm not going to laugh.
Don't.
I'm just going to repeat what you said to me back then. Ready?
And I won't laugh. You're right.
Shit balls in my cock.
Yeah, sorry,
did you say on my cock? In my cock.
Shit balls. Well, if it's on the cock,
if it's in, I'm out. If they're in, I'm out. If it's on, I'm still out, but I'm out a little bit less.
This is the donut of the podcast. Here we are. We've arrived at sort of the soul and core.
This is the donut. We're inside the hole of the podcast.
We're inside the proverbial hole of the podcast.
Right. Or
we're going to get inside the hole of the listener today.
Or we could be the cream inside of Boston.
Okay, yeah. We're going to cream inside of the proverbial hole of the listener's ears and other orifices that they put their headphones up to.
We're going to get fucking put on a list.
We're not going to get put on a list, man.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Because there are other people who are worse than us who are not on lists.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You know what I mean?
There's
those
rich.
Fucking Theo Von is not on he's on certain lists, but he's on lists.
He's on the VIP list for the Tony Awards. That's what he's on.
Exactly. He's going to be hosting the Oscars next year, man. He's a generational voice.
Imagine how fucking funny that would be.
Theo Von hosting the Oscars?
Yes.
I would not want to watch that, man.
I
mean, one, I don't watch the Oscars to begin with anyway.
Me either, but I would if Theo Von was hosting it.
You know what? The only reason I would watch the Oscars if Geoff Keighley was hosting it, because I'd be like, that's a funny crossover episode. Awesome. He'd bring Hideo Kojima on stage, and he'd be like, "This is my best friend. Isn't that cool?"
And then he would be like, I have a new game coming. It's called Death Stranding 4.
It's called Knights of Zombie Honor 2. And it's kind of like...
There is no first
game.
One.
It's kind of like Dark Souls meets Zelda. And it's about having, anguish for past souls.
Yeah, and then I've got another game coming out later in the year called Monkey Quest, and it's kind of just like a spirit. Don't laugh.
Also,
it's kind of a
Death
spiritual
Stranding
successor
3 is coming out soon, and we're gonna bring.
I think they're skipping
and my good
3.
friend, my best friend in the whole world, who I love dearly, Hideo Kojima, is gonna come on stage and tell us fucking nothing about the game, even though it comes out in a month.
I thought this was the voice of Hideo Kojima.
Oh.
This is Geoff Keighley. Geoff Keighley is the one who's making Monkey Quest. That's incredible. It's a spiritual successor to the dinosaur game when you don't have internet in your browser.
Right.
I think it's really going to shake up the formula. It's going to be pretty crazy.
I like the idea that Hideo Kojima is making... I would love to see a Hideo Kojima, like, Monkey Ball 4 or something.
That would be awesome.
And it's like... The instead of monkeys, it's like those fetuses that they keep you alive in Death Stranding.
Yeah. In the giant amber chamber.
And it's sort of like a horrorcore thing, and they get fucking Hayley Williams to do the soundtrack and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, now that she's quit tennis, she can do that.
I don't know if what is.
Sometimes I just say things because I think they're funny.
I don't know if you follow Hideo Kojima on any social medias, but
I follow him on Instagram. I check his account probably once every 2 days, and I'm not lying.
Sometimes
his
he'll
Instagram
just post,
is my favorite page.
Sometimes he'll post a funny image of him like pretending to be a gamer, even though he is one, and then sometimes he'll just post. He's like, "Yo, listening to the new fucking ASAP Rocky song, and it's dope as fuck."
And then like 5 posts later, it'll just be like 7 images in a row of him and Elle Fanning.
Yeah, it's so weird because it's like, we see we have friends that like love Japan, and then it's like Hideo Kojima is the opposite. He's a weeb for the United States of America, which is a very funny thing to be a weeb for. Like, imagine lusting over Geoff Keighley, like one of the least interesting people of all time, man.
I think he's kind of... Yeah.
He's just a walking advertisement of a human being. Like, you can pay him, if you have $100,000, you can get Geoff Keighley to say anything you fucking want.
I think I would do a lot of things for $100,000. Maybe that's not enough.
I don't disagree, but Geoff Keighley's
But
whole
he would do
thing
anything.
is he gets up on stage and he says, "There's this new game I'm really excited about, and it's called Sins of Divinity Definitive Edition. And it's about how you go into space and there's swords, and it's kind of like Dark Souls, but also, did you know that it's a video game that you can play, and it has the cool
Pretty
thing
incredible.
about it is that it's immersive. No other game has ever done this.
It's true.
And there's guns. People like that nowadays, right?
People love guns. We love guns, especially in America. Huge gun fans.
Did you see the guy at the Summer Games Fest who was wearing the Make FPS Great Again hat?
No.
He was on the Splitgate 2 team or whatever. Like,
Good
no
for him,
one's
man.
going to play Splitgate 2, man. I hate to tell
No,
you
the
this.
game was like kind of fun when it first came out, and then they were like, "All right, guys, we're gonna take down the servers because we made a bunch of money initially, and now we're gonna make a new game."
Yeah.
But they're just gonna ruin it. Like, it's gonna take all of the fun out of the game.
I think there's something
I just
fucked
know
up
it.
going on at Splitgate Studios or whatever the fuck they're called. Like,
Well, it's just like every other project ever that suddenly receives a large influx of money and then gets investment from people who suck dick for a living, and then it just kind of ruins the whole project. It's awesome.
I
It's
would
like
not
every
be
Kickstarter campaign that
surprised.
becomes successful.
I would not be surprised if, like, fucking Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett had, like, a large hand in the investment pool for Splitgate 2, because it
Yeah,
feels like
BlackRock
very, like,
made
artificially like boosted in some way, you know?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Well, it's like every small creative, like, thank God for Toby Fox, because he's awesome and his project has never become, or projects, I guess I should say, have never become like totally capitalism pilled. But I
Yeah.
feel like lots of studios, you see a little bit of success and people are like, an investment.
Yeah.
And then they just pour a bunch of money into it. But then you have to listen to them and it might hinder your creative vision.
Elden Ring won Game of the Year, which means every game this year is
Has
going
to
to be
be like Elden
fucking Elden Ring, dude. And
I guess I
every
could get Elden
every
Ring Night Rain.
fucking boss in every video game now is called, like, Blarga, Terror of Night, or something like that.
They just listen to people vomiting for like 10 hours and then they go, all right. And then they go, all right, AI, I need you to like translate that to text, speech to text it. And it's like, oh, this is my new favorite dragon.
Yeah.
He's like the best boss of the year and he has 3 attacks. And he also dodge rolls as a dragon, which is something that typically only the player character can do. So
It's like when you get a voicemail from your boss and, like, the auto-generated, like, text summary of it is just
it's
like,
awesome.
I need you to come to, then there's like 3 dots. And then afterward, it's like your mom is dying. And you call back
Yeah.
immediately. And they're like, yeah, I need you to come into work.
Yeah. Because you got pranked.
Because you got fucking YouTube pranked.
Yeah. And then Ashton Kutcher walks out and he's like, you just walked the prank or whatever.
And then you end up on Tosh.0 somehow. You didn't even know it was being filmed.
That's a throwback. I haven't heard that in a while.
And fucking Chanel West Coast does her ghostly laugh at you.
I think that would heal me. That would fix me.
I don't think that. I don't think Chanel West Coast has ever healed anyone, man.
She hasn't. That's the thing about it.
What was that reality show with Flava Flav where he gets
Dude,
to
I
date
have-
a bunch of women?
I have no idea.
And there's a girl, her name was like New York City or something like that. Or her nickname. I think she has an actual name, probably.
Flavor of Love.
Yeah. Flava Flav's Flavor of Love, dude.
Oh,
And it was like a dating show kind of thing, but with, who doesn't want to have Flava Flav's love, right? That's like the ultimate prize.
there are a lot of people on this show.
Well,
I always forgot that he looked like that. That might be. He's just wearing a clock. That doesn't even count as like a timepiece. He's just wearing a clock. It's like this big.
That's like a time monument, man.
It is.
And then there's a girl on that show who is like, you know, she got famous for like being an insane person on reality TV, and her nickname was New York City. And then she got her like own show. I remember all the lore, man. It was crazy.
Good for her. I feel like being on reality TV seems like it is truly what hell must be like.
Yeah, it probably blows chunks, dude.
Like you get your 15 minutes of fame or whatever, and that's like cool, I guess.
What do you get out of that though? Like
eternal damnation.
You get a big enough paycheck to do like one of those like salmon sperm facial treatments or whatever, and then what? You have to go back to working at McDonald's, like.
Yeah, but then every time like someone comes to your job and they recognize you, your life is made worse.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
that sounds fun, I guess.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Henry's back.
Hey guys.
He made it back fucking
again. Just so you know, I saw the missile incoming, and I had to walk out onto the wing and jump off of the fucking plane and land on it.
The Vegas line on you returning, you would not have been happy with for sure. But you made it back to the mainland.
But the thing about it is that statistically I had an impact on the outcome. So next time, you got to make sure that you like straight jacket me to the chair or something. Because I'm just not letting it happen.
Yeah.
Because Flava Flav was on my flight. And he can't die yet. He's not allowed.
In business class, man.
He was in Tokyo. And he was flying back with me.
You ever get on...
Okay.
What?
Can I complain about something really quick?
Yeah, of course, man.
This happened on my trip.
Yeah.
I went to a high school of my high school in total, 600 people. My graduating class was like 150.
Oh, I thought you were saying you went to a high school in Japan.
No.
I went to a high school and I looked at all the young children.
Nope. Not where I was going. So keep in mind, my graduating class, 150-ish, give or take, plus or minus a few, kids, right?
Mine was like
Tokyo,
30.
Japan. 15 million people live there, and then on top of tourists, we'll call it like 18 million.
Yeah.
Every day. Tell me why at the most visited crossing in the entire world in Shibuya, in Japan, I ran into someone from my high school. I just spent my entire life's worth of statistical luck on that interaction.
Yeah, you will never win the lottery. You'll never get struck by lightning, which is arguably a good thing.
That is my 1 in like 30 million chance in life. Gone.
Dude, if you could like use, like if you had like a store of luck and you could use it whenever you want.
Could you imagine?
That power would be amazing, man.
That would rock.
I'd blow it on some stupid shit for sure.
I think I blew it on getting my reservation for the Switch 2 right after I blew all of my luck on running into someone from my high school in Shibuya.
That is funny, though.
I also saw a like quasi-celebrity that I follow on Instagram, which was crazy.
What is a quasi-celebrity?
Well, like he's not really famous, but he's like Instagram famous.
I see. It's like one of those doctors who does like liposuction, and he's like, I'm the famous liposuction guy. I make TikToks about liposuction. And I have 500,000 followers for some reason.
I think, honestly, that's a pretty fair comparison, because I think he has like 350,000 or something like that. But I was just like going down an escalator into an arcade, and he was coming up, and I was like, yo, dude, I love your vids. And then he dapped me up. So all of my luck has been wasted on the Japan trip. And then also I made it back, so I'm out of luck now.
Yeah, you are just out. The tank is on empty now.
I gotta wait until I'm like 60 to get something cool again.
I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, and I don't know, my Explore page is like all fucked up now.
Isn't it awesome?
It's no. I think I fucked it up, not on purpose, but like just by being like a curious human.
I also fucked mine up for the same reason.
And like now I get those like it's like travel family sort of like vacation, like this is all they do. Like every day it's a post about them, like, oh, we went to the local farm, with my kids, and we got pumpkins or whatever. And then the next post is
Sounds
like,
awful.
I just bought a $500,000 pair of earrings.
That I can get behind. There we go. That's what I need to see on my Instagram.
And you have like 1 million followers, which is like a lot of followers, but it's not enough to like, get money from like the M&M Corporation to like live off of or whatever,
Right.
So it's like,
especially
what do
not
you
$500,000.
Like, how do you... And I've seen your house, you know what I mean? Your address isn't blurred in the videos because you don't know how to edit, because you're all making it on like CapCut Final Pro, iPhone Lite for free.
Right. We all love CapCut Final iPhone with Dante from the Devil May Cry series Lite.
Exactly. It's just a weird world that like I don't know why it exists,
Every time I delve into a new corner of social media, it like kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah. You don't realize that like there's like thousands of people trying to do like the Among Us potion at 3 a.m. trying to get like children's money to like buy t-shirts and mugs and stuff.
Yeah. I just feel like that's kind of immoral.
Who doesn't want a Gildan 5000 heavyweight tee? You know what I mean?
Well, if it's got like a cool print on it, I'll buy it.
It's sublimated, bro. It's awesome.
What if it says, I drank the Among Us potion at 3 a.m. and all I got was this lousy t-shirt?
What if it said, I want to kill Osama bin Laden?
I'd buy it immediately.
Parentheses, he's still alive.
That would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty dope, honestly. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, you went to Japan. Come on, tell us about Japan.
I went again.
You were there for 2. Actually, the first thing I want to know, and it's because the only reason I'm interested is because you told me you were gonna do it, and it's stupid.
Okay.
What I want to know what happened with the person who would tell you what your color is. What color should you wear? Tell me it's not blue, because that would be the one color they could give you that would not be helpful to you.
I have bad news.
Oh no, you didn't go?
We didn't go. No. They were all booked like months in advance.
Months?
Months.
What people are like, in 6 months from now, I need to know a color. Let me book an appointment.
I think it's just like it became a trend on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and people were like, "Oh, I've got to get that done when I'm in Japan." So everyone, just did it.
It feels weird that like people book reservations to like fancy restaurants months in advance.
Yeah, I could never do that. That's not the way I live my life.
Like learning about colors.
It's a thing that people want to do, I guess. I don't know.
That's funny though.
But yeah, I'm sorry. I did not end up going.
Well, okay, so it was all a waste then?
No, I had the craziest dad lore experience of my entire life.
About your dad who is dead?
No, not about my dad who's dead. But yeah, actually, you know what? I saw him. He was there.
He was there in Japan. He was just chilling.
He's not dead.
He was living like Oscar the Grouch in a trash can.
And it was weird because I was like, Dad? And then he just started speaking to me fluently in Japanese as if he had forgotten all English. No,
the ultimate form of witness protection.
Like lore that if you had kids someday, would tell your kids and they would be like, holy shit, I can't believe you did that. Like, when your parents tell you a story and it's like, yeah, one time me and my buddy Chuck were, I don't know, we went to the corner store and we ran into Snoop Dogg, and then he like took us out to dinner and we drove his Lamborghini Huracan off of a cliff into a strip club or something.
Yeah, he gave us $3,000 and then we spent it on hookers and cocaine, and your mother doesn't know.
Right. So that's like not that far off. So me and my buddy Max. So this was the day. It was Sam was there with us for the first week.
Yeah.
I feel bad because I haven't told Sam yet, and he kind of missed out on this. I don't think he would have had fun, but maybe I'm wrong.
Wait, Sam was there and you didn't do it with Sam?
We didn't do it with Sam.
This was
not an event. Well, so we were there for 2 weeks, but Sam could only stay for 1 week because he had to come back to the States to go to work.
Oh, I see.
So the day that Sam left, Max and I took the bullet train to Okayama, which is like further west in Japan and sort of closer to the coast. It's not really somewhere Like, it's definitely not as touristy as like Osaka or Tokyo or anything.
Yeah.
Like in Tokyo and Osaka, like people look at us because we're like white dudes, but not, all the time.
Yeah.
In Okayama, it's like
you've walked into a
like,
part
who
of
are you?
town that like you are not supposed to be in.
That it's not big enough for any white people, actually.
Yeah.
It's not big enough for the two of us. It's not big enough for the one of us. It's not
Right.
big enough for anyone. Get out. But anyway, so my friend Max and I, we get to our Verbo for the night. And I look at the instructions to check in, and they're like, hey, guys, to get the key, you actually have to go to a hotel, which is like a 15-minute walk away from where you are right now. And I was like, awesome. Cool. So I left my bags with Max. I walked to grab the key. I checked in the hotel. They gave me the key. Then I walked back to the like Verbo we were staying. We put our stuff away, and we're like, all right, we're fucking starving at this point. And all the restaurants, for some reason, didn't open until 7 p.m. So Max and I looked on Google Maps, and we're like, all right, cool. Let's go to this place. It looks really good. So we show up at this restaurant. The restaurant is a parking lot. There's no food. Nothing. No food in sight. We're like, all right, cool. Let's just walk around and find something. And so we walk into this bar. We walk like down the street, and we just walk into this random alleyway, and we're like, well, this place probably has food, right?
Yeah.
We sit down. We're the only two people in the bar. The guy behind the bar is an older Korean man, and he owns it with his wife. And so he's like, like, what can I get you guys? And we're like, like, do you have anything to eat? And he was like, no, this is just a bar, but I can get you a beer. And I was like, sure, we'll get a beer, and like we can figure out what we want to do next. So we have a beer, and he gives us cucumber salad, which was fire. And we're just kind of like sitting and chatting. And we're like using Google Translate to like tell them why we're here and whatever. Because they were like, why are you guys here? And we were like, oh, we're just like on a grad trip. We just graduated college. We've always wanted to come to Japan, whatever. So we're here.
We're hanging out. We're looking for all the beautiful women.
Right. We're looking for all the beautiful women.
Where are they? We heard that this city had very beautiful women. Can you tell me where they are?
That's why we went to Okayama. It's not why we went to Okayama. But anyway, so we're talking. We drink a beer. We have another beer. Then another beer.
Okay, so we're three beers deep now.
3 beers deep. We're in. And so at this point, we've eaten a cucumber salad. And the guy, his name is Sukjin. He was like, do you guys like kimchi? And we were like, oh yeah, we love kimchi. And he was like, well, I'm Korean, so here's the best kimchi you'll ever have. And so we're eating this kimchi, and it was fucking fire.
Okay, so awesome. You asked if he had food. He said no. And then he said, hey, do you guys want some food?
But like, it wasn't like, dinner. It was like, hey, do you want kimchi? And then he brought it out on a plate that's like this big. Like, it wasn't food. And so then, probably like 25 minutes, we've been sitting there. This other guy walks in, and we meet him. And he actually never introduced himself, so I have no idea what his name is. But he's a character in this story. So Sukjin is behind the bar. He's like, I'm hungry. Which is funny because Sukjin doesn't speak a lot of English, and we've been speaking mostly Japanese up to this point. He just goes, I'm hungry. I'm like, oh, okay. And also, behind the bar, while we were talking to his wife, I could just hear him doing Duolingo, like, English the whole time. He'd be like, hello, ba-ding. He'd be like, how are you? Ba-ding. And I was like, this guy's awesome. So he's like,
bro is literally, he's studying for the exam while he's taking it.
While he's taking the exam.
It doesn't feel very helpful.
And so he was like, do you guys like gyoza? And we were like, oh, sure.
Yeah.
Like, do you make any? He was like, oh, I have no idea. And he's like, all right, honey, watch the bar. And he's like, all right, you guys are coming with me. We were like, what? And he was like, we're going to dinner. And so he takes us out to dinner.
Okay.
Yep. Random guy I've never met. It's me, Max, Sukjin, and the other guy in the bar with us, who I come to learn is from North Korea.
What, man?
Yeah. Like, not...
He got out. That's crazy.
He got out.
That's rare. Out. That's honestly...
Right?
That's, like, more rare than meeting, like, a Holocaust survivor.
Yes.
That's crazy, man.
I've never met anyone in my life. He was like, yeah, I'm from North Korea. And I was
wow.
Like, that's crazy. He was like, what do you think about Japan? We were like, what do you think about Japan? He was like, oh, it's great. I'm not a fan of North Korea. And I was like, wow.
Aren't they, like, super racist to North Koreans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Super.
That's which so is weird. Funny, man. Do you think he knows about Yeonmi Park being on Joe Rogan?
Probably. I bet he probably loves her.
She has like a book now. Anyway, sorry. You're at dinner.
No, it's okay. So we're at dinner. So he takes us to this Chinese place, and we're just kind of like sitting and eating and drinking and all that, and having a good time. We ate shark fin soup, which is super illegal, apparently.
Yeah, that's so illegal. Yeah,
so illegal. So that's a thing that I've done now, which is pretty cool.
That's like a black market item. Like you can't just get that.
I just got to say, if you have the chance to try it, don't. It's awful. Okay. It's fine. It was just like weirdly stringy and fibrous. Like I expected it to be more like meaty, I guess, because
sharks are like big, yeah.
Right, but the fin is like mostly like it was just very fibrous, I guess would be the
fin
best way
is
to
just
describe
cartilage. It's like eating an ear, right?
Right. Well, but it had like more flavor than that. I don't know. It was weird.
It was
so we have shark fin soup. I was like, all right, cool. Like, can I pay for dinner? He was like, no. I was like, what do you mean no? He was like, I invited you. You're not allowed to pay.
Okay.
And then he tried to set us up with his 17-year-old daughter.
Okay.
So that was fun.
That's nice.
Because both of us were like, no. I was like, I have a girlfriend. And Max was like, I'm an adult. So at least our boundaries are good. Because he was like, oh, yeah, I guess you guys are a little old. Or like, I guess she is too young in the States. And I was like, okay, cool. So then, at this point, we're probably like 4, 5, maybe 6 drinks deep. And Max and I just keep like glancing at each other and being like, is this like really a thing that we're doing right now? I feel like I'm like in a fever dream.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I guess so. And so then Sukjin, he pays for dinner. I'm like, oh, like, thank you very much. The North Korean guy keeps joking that we're lucky that we walked into this bar because Sukjin is rich. And we're like, all right, cool. And then he's like, all right, next place. And we're like, oh, okay, cool.
Another place. We'll just go to another one. Now you're bar crawling.
Now we're bar crawling.
And
let me tell you, this is a place that I have never been in my life, and I never planned on going, and I don't think I'll be going back.
Okay.
That being said, so in Japan, it's a big thing that like all the buildings are really skinny and tall because there's no space to build anything. So this building is like a 3rd floor walk up, which to me just feels like a little bit seedy because it's like not something you would walk up. It's not like a storefront, you have to walk to the side and walk up the stairs. And so we walk up the stairs and we get to the building and Max and I look to our left and there's just a wall. And on this wall are probably 20 women.
Mm-hmm.
And all their names are like listed below. And I was like, hey Max. And he goes, uh-huh. Yeah. And I go, what's this? And he's like, well, that's a wall of women.
That's a wall of women in scantily clad.
It was actually
garments.
It was just their faces.
Okay.
Just faces.
like a wanted poster, like a price in their name.
No, I mean they were all like, like smiling or whatever, but it was like
Yeah.
That kind of place. And so he and I kind of just like look at each other and we were like, fuck, are we in a strip club right now? And I was like, I think we're in a strip club right now.
Yeah.
And so I look over to Sukjin and he just goes, and I'm like, Sukjin, I have a girlfriend. And he was like, oh. Shh. And I was like, okay.
Honestly, good advice.
I guess. Because Max and I just looked at each other. We're like, doesn't this guy have a wife? We just met her.
Yeah.
So we go into the strip club. And I felt like kind of weird about it because I was like, well, I don't want to be rude, but I don't really want to be here. And it's really funny because Max also definitely didn't want to be there. So we go and sit down, and it's awesome because it's the 4 of us, Sukjin, the North Korean guy, and the 2 white kids. And like, that's it. There are like 2 people in the back, like 2 old Japanese dudes.
It's like empty.
Which I was like,
what day of the week is this?
I think it was a Friday. So you would expect it to be like kind of popping.
You would expect some, yeah, for sure. That's definitely like a big day for business, I think.
Yes. And so I was just kind of like, well, I guess this is a thing that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And so I will say I do not feel guilty about being at this place because there was no stripping done.
Well, that's a fucking scam.
But there was some dancing, and I will say,
and they were
maybe
good
a little
at
bit. They were pretty good.
It got my ting-a-ling boing-a-yoinging.
No.
So they did.
Although I will say,
job.
there was one point, when you're like sitting down, your jeans like do the thing.
You get a gent.
You get a
jean
little
tent.
You get a little gent. the North Korean guy looked over at me. He was like, "Ha ha," and I was like, "No, it's just my pants, man."
Yeah.
I was like, "Why are you making fun of me?" And so we're in the strip club and we're like hanging out, and these 4 girls come over to talk to us because there's 4 of us, and Max and I are just chatting with the huzz. They're all from the Philippines. And so they were like, yeah, we all speak English like fluently. And we were like, yes.
Oh, really?
And 8
That's
different
fun.
people told me that I look like Justin Bieber. So I think I'll be killing myself.
What the fuck, man?
I was like, not even a little bit.
No.
I don't look like him even a little bit.
No.
So that was the highlight of the night. And so Max and I are like now 8 drinks deep, drunkenly talking to these Filipino women. And they're like, do you guys sing? And I was like, no, absolutely not. And Max is like, no. And they were like, well, you have to. And we were like, so I wish I had pictures of this happening, but I don't because Max and I are the only 2 that knew each other there. But we performed a duet of Grenade by Bruno Mars in front of the strip club.
That's awesome.
And they said at the end that we were of average skill level, which I'll take.
Oh, wow.
Because we were like, was it bad? And they were like, no, it was all right. And I was like, okay, I'll take all right. Like, it wasn't awful. And
we've heard Bruno Mars do it, and you weren't close, but
no, definitely
you tried.
But we tried. They were like, you weren't bad. We've heard much pitchier, worse performances. And we were like, all right, cool. We'll take
it. The standards for being 8 drinks deep are not very high.
No, right. So I'll take average for 8 drinks deep. I mean, I think it would probably be better than if I was totally sober. And then after we were done, we left. We took a picture in this random plaza with Sukjin and the North Korean guy. I'll send you the picture.
Okay.
But that was the highlight of my trip. It was fucking crazy. The whole night, I was like, I'm in a movie right now. I'm in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, yeah.
I just got taken to dinner and a strip club by a random Korean man. And he gave me his phone number. So he said, if you're ever back in Japan, you should call me. So I have it.
Okay. That's cool.
Yep. So that was my Japan trip. That was the highlight.
That was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, the craziest thing to me is that there's a guy from North Korea there. That's wild.
Isn't that crazy?
And he's just like chilling.
And he kept
and he's like, yeah, I know it's a Friday, but I'll go to a strip club right now.
Yeah. Well, he like walked in wearing business attire. I mean, it was like 7:00 when we walked to the bar.
Sure.
So he walked in, I'm assuming after work.
Did you tip any of the girls?
No. I love my wife. If they started stripping, I think I just would have walked
But they were
out.
doing their job. You got to leave a tip.
I mean, I bought a drink.
That's not a tip, though.
No, it's not.
Come on, how are you not gonna, slip a crisp Benji into the panty strings or whatever?
I think if I were like under different circumstances, I'd think about it. But no, I'm good.
Well,
also, I didn't bring any crisp Benjis with me to Japan.
Well, it's like a cool souvenir you can give to someone that you think is cool.
That's true. They'll be like, "Oh, this is actually worth like $140."
This is
currency.
money that I can't use. That is so cool. Thank you so much.
Well, you could just convert it to yen. It'd be dope.
Yeah, but
it's
you
way
gotta,
more
like,
yen
go to
than
the
it is
bank
USD.
and shit.
No, they have ATMs like on the street. You can just walk
it's
up to
probably better for them to keep it USD long term. That's like an investment to them. Like unironically.
I bought you a share of American stock. Here you go.
That's a great gift, honestly.
Now I feel like
I mean, Japan's economy is so fucked.
Now I'm white savior complexing. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Japan buys its own debt from itself to make it look like it's more valuable than it is.
How?
They print money.
Oh, dude.
They print their own money to buy their own debt. It actually doesn't solve any of their problems, but
I was
going to
say
that they
like
do
doesn't sound like it would. That's funny.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we haven't tried that.
I don't think we're in a bad enough place to do that.
Okay, that's good.
It's only when you get like real fucked up, which will probably be in like 2 years from now.
2 years, yeah. I was gonna say.
Yeah, but that's cool. I'm glad you had a great time in Japan. It sounds like a blast.
So it was just the whole time I was like, I can't believe this is a thing that I could now say that I've done.
Yeah. That is some dad lore for sure.
It is. I told my brother that story. He was like, dude, that sounds awesome. Keep in mind, my brother is 17.
Yeah, yeah.
He was like, that's such sick dad lore. And I was like, thanks, Ollie. I also bought a $200 pair of jeans, and my girlfriend yelled at me.
But it's nice denim, bro.
It's really nice.
It's dyed with natural indigo.
Yeah, and actually, they don't really use child labor, so I guess not.
No, they use like women labor.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
fine. Women can have jobs.
It's better, but it's still not good. Women labor is better than child labor. I'll say that.
Yes, I would agree. I think women having but you mean like underpaid still?
I think it's weird. I mean, that is like the sort of understood notion that if you see a factory of all women, yeah, they're probably usually underpaid.
Probably underpaid. Can you imagine walking in?
But also,
like, no,
if
we
it's
have like
all
full
women,
dental with
still...
benefits.
Yeah, no, we have vision insurance. It's cool.
I'm gonna open an ethically sourced sweatshop. That's my new business goal.
Okay, yeah.
It'll be like Temu, but good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's more like Dior, but good, right? Because you'd have to sell all of the T-shirts at like a crazy markup to afford that. You can't sell LA apparel at a 10% margin to give people
I guess that's
like
true.
Dental insurance and shit, man. You got to be selling those fucking plain white T-shirts that are like $200.
Yeah. But they better be nice.
Sewn by the human hand.
Yeah, with love. That's why they're so
expensive. Made for the human skin. That's the beautiful thing about it.
It's made for fish scales, actually. They're fish shirts.
Made for skin, by skin. Foreskin, made for you.
We made you a foreskin.
We made you one. Wear it?
Question mark?
Question mark, please. We would like you to wear it. We put so much effort into this foreskin.
Yeah.
What if you could do that? It's like it's like the Japanese black market shark fin shop, but it's for like baby foreskin. That was not just cut off. Shop.
They just like sell it. It's like totally normal. I also ate whale, which is illegal.
Yeah, that's also bad.
Yeah. So
this
trip was all about doing things.
How many miles you'll have to drive an electric vehicle to like undo the environmental harm that you substantiated?
I don't think driving an electric vehicle is going to offset it.
At a certain point, it will, right?
Well, but like the production and manufacturing of an electric vehicle already offsets the environmental benefits that you would receive from driving one.
Yes, but the production of electric vehicles is necessary to get people to convert to electric vehicles long term, so that everyone is saving the. It's not like
the environment.
We can run factories with like windmills in the future for sure, but like
I love windmills.
We got to get there first, and to do that, we have to create the market incentives.
All right, fine. You win.
Not that it's like good or whatever. I don't really believe that like burning old like T-Rex bones and shit is like chill.
We'll get over it eventually. We'll find something eventually, I guess.
We're gonna run out of coal at some point.
Yeah.
So at some point we won't be able to hurt the environment because it'll be impossible.
I think by the time we get there, we'll kind of already be screwed.
I mean, maybe.
But if you think about it like that, I guess that that's true. You're right.
Yeah, it'll all be gone at some point. And so everyone is going to have a windmill.
Yeah.
In their
It'll be like a Studio
lawn.
Ghibli film. It'll be so sick.
Yeah. Everyone's going to have like the solar panels on their roof and stuff like that.
That's a world that I would like to live in.
I think it's they don't really make for good like tiling though.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I think if we can make them, the guy who figures out how to make solar panels a different color is going to be pretty good for the building industry.
Yeah.
They're going to love that one.
I do like that if you get solar panels on your roof, like the snow just melts off. It just all falls down.
Yeah.
Because the surface is like hot or whatever.
Slick.
Yeah.
Well, it's hot, but also then the water just like it'll melt, but then even if it doesn't, it just kind of slides off.
Yeah.
They got a low friction coefficient.
A low friction coefficient.
Whatever, man.
It's just funny that you know the term.
I study building. I'm supposed to know that.
I guess. I don't know.
I should know more than that. I should be able to tell you more about solar panels, but I can't.
I know that like there's cells and they're
made of
sun
organelles.
rays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they get it from the air. Stuff like that.
Yeah, man.
Let me tell you what I did when I was in Japan. Because the Nintendo Switch 2 came out.
In Japan.
Or while you were in Japan.
Oh, okay.
While I was in
too?
Japan, I was also there. I just didn't tell you.
Did you go to any Filipino strip clubs?
I went. Funnily enough, I went every night except for Friday. So I must have just dodged you.
I guess you did. Yeah.
I lost $10,000 on my trip
Low key, me too.
because I wanted to tip. So
okay,
I'm just better in that way.
$10,000
Over the course of my 6 days there, yeah.
Well, you don't have a partner. I just didn't want to be unfaithful.
It's not unfaithful to pay for a service.
I guess that's true, but
what's the difference?
That service specifically,
Okay.
I think is maybe.
If you go on a Disney cruise and you see a performance of The Lion King, and there's a bunch of people who are not wearing shirts and they're pretending to be lions in the show. They're only
Right.
wearing like a lion mane crown sort
Right.
of thing and underwear.
Okay.
And it's almost, I feel, a moral necessity to tip them because they did a good job and you had a good time. And you tip
you
that. That's paying for a
Tip
service.
when you watch like a play.
But it's Disney and they're trying to get every dollar they can. So you feel bad. You want to tip.
Right.
And the women are
Okay,
beautiful. Okay.
Right. All women are beautiful.
Yeah. What's the issue? You paid for a service and you got the service.
Well, I didn't get a service, so I didn't pay for it.
Well, they hung out with you. The service is their like companionship. That's
I didn't
what
ask them to do that.
That's what
Okay.
all of the sad old people go to
I know
strip clubs
it's actually.
for.
We were talking about it afterwards. I was like, dude, that's got to be like an awful life.
Yeah, dude, it's horrible.
You just get
man.
paid to like pretend to like people who just want to be weird with you, which just kind of sucks.
I mean, I think
That's
some
why
people
I-
like it, but I think it's more sad from like the people, the
are going
patrons
there.
who indulge. Yeah,
Yeah, like you could just make friends and talk to them and hang out. Well, that's what it was
but
kind
they
of funny.
can't
You
because
could
they're like weird and old and like, oh, I work at
but you could just be
a
like
mortgage
normal
company.
and old.
Yeah, you could like love your wife, right? But like
Yeah,
a lot of people didn't learn how to do that. School didn't
Yeah.
teach them how to fucking.
there's
buy
no
a Lambo,
loving
bro.
your wife 101.
Yeah, you know.
With my new course, How to Love Your Beautiful Wife 101, you can learn how to love your wife.
It's called the wifeosphere instead of the manosphere.
What the fuck is the manosphere?
That's like Andrew Tate and shit. It's called the manosphere.
The virginosphere. Here in the manosphere, we're going to debunk the myth of the clitoris.
Yeah.
We all
I
know it's not real.
have yet to find evidence of its existence.
Yeah.
And by the end of this course, I'll prove to you that Jesus Christ was real and you should thank him.
Yep. This gets so misconstrued all the time. Jesus was probably like the chillest motherfucker of all time.
Yeah, he
walked
smoked
around in,
hella
like
weed.
Birkenstocks. He was a hippie. We all know it.
For sure. Hair that long? Come on, bro.
Hell yes. You're kidding me?
What are we
God probably
doing here,
hated
man?
that. He was like, Jesus, trim your hair. And Jesus was like, nah, Dad. Piss off. I want to
You're always telling me what I can and can't do, Dad.
listen to Metallica and, I don't know, be grunge and shit.
The
wanna turn
Metallica of
people's-
Jesus' day was probably fire, dude.
Dude, I bet it was awesome.
They were doing like some like fucked up time signature on like a traditional like African drum set or some shit.
Right, you watch him perform in the middle of Cairo, that shit's probably electric.
Dude, at the pyramids, like fucking Travis Scott.
While they're activating? Oh my god.
The UFO's coming down to place another 2,000 ton block onto
they
the
replaced
top
one of the they replaced one of the blocks with a giant fucking bass
Oh, that's fire, man.
with a speaker set. It's probably awesome.
That's dope as fuck, dude. Here's what I did while you were in Japan.
Yeah. So what did you do while I was in Japan?
The Switch 2
I saw Zach was here.
released. What do you mean? Oh, Zach was on the pod. Yes, that happened. This is the only interesting thing that happened while you were gone. I went to the midnight release of the Switch 2, which you told me you changed your flight to get home to buy it at midnight, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, it was free.
Sure. Couldn't you have just bought one in Japan, though?
No.
What do you mean, no?
Well, I was staying in so changing my flight to stay longer in Japan would have fucked me over.
Sure,
because there's like rules with being a foreigner and all that fun stuff. Like I stayed for exactly 2 weeks, and there's like another. You can stay up to 90 days, but you have to like fill out a form, and there's this like long process and all this shit. So I was like, I don't want to do that. I was already supposed to come back. I was in the States on June 2nd, but I came in and out of LA, and I stayed with my uncle the night of June 2nd, and then I left on June 3rd instead of June 4th. Because my flight on June 4th was supposed to land at like 11:43. And I was like, well,
and that's
no chance I'm getting a Switch 2 then.
Yeah.
So I changed my flight. Like the little Nintendo glazer that I am. So I had to come back and wait in line at GameStop at 10 a.m. To pick out my Switch 2.
Yeah.
Which I'm sorry because I've been talking so much this time and you're going to go next. But I need to share my experience with this pickup. I have never had a worse retail experience in my entire life.
Oh, really?
Picking up the Switch 2 from this GameStop.
What happened?
Well, I'll share afterwards. You share your midnight release story, and then I'll go next.
So this is the first midnight release of anything ever in my entire life that I've been to. I forgot that the Switch was coming out entirely. The morning of, I opened Blue Sky, and I was like, and people were talking about like, I saw someone I follow say, I'm excited to wait 8 hours in line today to get it. And I had no intention of getting it, but I saw that post and I was like, oh. I talked about this on the podcast before. I said I was standing on business. I was not going to get it under any circumstance.
Yep.
And I tell you, Henry, honest to God, I don't know what happened. I started thinking about like who I was without it, and I couldn't imagine who that person was. I was like, if I don't get the Switch 2, I don't see an existence for me in the future.
Yeah, like, I don't know who Jackson is.
You know what it was? I was like, if I don't get it today, then I don't think I'll ever get it. And if I never get it, then like I've like lost this piece of like my childhood forever. Like Nintendo is just a part of me. Every time they release a thing, it's just like a tax that I pay because like it's just who I am, you know?
Yeah.
It's like when you get a hobby and you don't need shit, but you start buying like D&D dice, right?
Right, because it's fucking cool and it makes you happy. That's fine.
And you already have 20 D20s, but what's one more? Right. They're only $5, you know?
And it's a different color than the ones you have right now.
And you need all the colors, right? So I messaged my friend Joe and I was like, hey, what are you doing today? And they were like, that's so funny. I was going to ask you, do you want to get lunch? And I said, no. Do you want to wait in line to get the Switch 2 with me? And Joe was like, yeah, sure. Joe also had no intention of getting the Switch 2, but decided to get one because they were waiting in line with me.
If you're waiting in line, I mean, you might as well get one.
Yeah, right. So that's like kind of the whole point. So we wait in line. We go to the nearest Best Buy.
You went to Best Buy?
Yeah, we went to Best Buy because I wasn't in the first wave of pre-orders for whatever fucking reason. Even though I'm a loyal Nintendo customer.
Me either.
And I buy the amiibos sometimes. Okay, like I paid for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe a million goddamn times. Like whatever,
like the schmuck that I am. I did it too.
This is just who I am as a person at my core, and you can judge me for that, and that's fine. We go to Best Buy. We get there like 8:45. I think we're number 26 and 27 in line.
Wow.
And I had gone there earlier in the day, and I'd asked the people, I was like, how much stock do you guys have? And he was like, I'm not at liberty to speak about that information.
Really?
And then I was like, are you at liberty to speak about this information given a price? And he said, I am not at liberty to speak on that information. But he had given me some information that led me to believe that stock was very low. So I wanted to turn up early. So we got there at like 8:45. Yeah, we had a decent spot in line. And then I was totally, I had accepted that I might not get one, and that was okay. I was perfectly fine with that. But I transferred $500 into my checking from my savings anyway.
Damn right. Gotta be prepped.
And it was like fine. I don't know. It was a normal ass release. We talked to some people. They were cool. I was on TV. Maybe. We don't know.
Ooh.
There was a guy with like the local channel 10 or whatever.
That's rad.
With the studio red camera and all that. I don't know what kind of camera it was.
Holy shit.
He turned up, and then he was like, he shouted at everyone in the line, and it was around the block. It was a long line. There were probably like 80 or 90 people in line, something like that. Which honestly, I thought there would be like more, to be honest. But
really,
yeah. But the guy was like, anyone want to speak on the news? Anyone? And I look around, everyone's like not paying attention. I'm like, I'll do it, I guess. I get in front of the camera. He's just asking me, I don't know, normal interview. I'm just saying, last week, it's funny because I was talking to Zach about, I was like, dude, we should get on TV. That'd be like fun. Cause I want to say some shit
to the world.
To the world. I need to say my message, you know?
Yeah.
And then, I didn't do any, I pussied out. I didn't have anything to say.
But you were there.
So they got the footage. I don't know if they used it though. Cause I was like, when is the footage, or I didn't ask, I think someone else asked this, but they were like, when is the footage going to be like aired? And he's like, oh, like fucking stupid early in the morning at like 6 a.m. And I went to bed at 3. So I wasn't staying up for that shit.
I know. Well, we were texting.
And then I went to the YouTube channel to look to see if they had uploaded it. Nothing. So
liar. I
don't know. He only talked to like 3 people in the goddamn line, and one of them was me and one of them was Joe. So there's I'd say a 33% chance that I was on TV. Not sure if it happened. And there's definitely no one that recorded it, so.
Damn.
But I expected it to be like sort of those old like old Black Friday videos where people are like trampling over each other, and like, you know, there's a woman with a knife like stabbing people who like get in her way and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
but none of that shit happened. Everyone is like, you know, a loser because they play Nintendo games.
Right.
So everyone's a pussy. They're all just like fucking nice and in line. Yeah. And also, I didn't have a chair, so I sat on the ground. I didn't really think about that part.
I did the same thing. I told myself, I was like, I'm gonna bring a chair because like I'll be here for a little while. And then as I just walked out of my house, got in my car, and left. I was like, well, I didn't grab a chair from the garage.
I didn't even think about it. It didn't even occur to me that I would be sitting on the ground for 4 hours.
Well,
but I got one, so
yeah,
you know, that's cool. There was also I found it weird. There's a person just walking around with a Target shopping cart that they stole from the Target next door, and they were like selling Gatorade and shit. Which, like, I get it, you know, try and get your bag, but like everyone brought water and like snacks and like stuff to do, and they were walking around. They're like, Apple Watch, brand new. Like still in the case.
Like, I stole it.
You realize that like we're all in this line to spend $500 tonight. You think we're also gonna buy an Apple Watch, man? Like, what are we doing here?
That happened at the GameStop that I was at too.
I mean, respect the hustle, but like no one here is trying to buy an Apple Watch right now, man.
Wrong audience.
It's the complete wrong audience. I think I don't know if they made a single sale that night.
Good.
And they were there for like 5 hours.
It's a lesson in knowing your audience. I mean, that's just like a waste of your time.
That is crazy, man.
That's wild. You have fun though? It was good?
Yeah, it was a fun time. I'd do it again.
Yeah.
It's good to just hang out with a friend.
Yeah, I did it alone.
You get to talk
like
about video games. Yeah.
Well, I was at home in Cleveland, like by myself, and my mom was at work. And also, like, I would not want to sit in that line with my mom for 5 hours because she would just ask me a bunch of questions and be like, "Why are you doing this at 22 years old?" I'd be like, "Hey, can you shut the fuck up?" And then my brother, like, he's not really like a huge video game guy.
Yeah.
Like, we played Mario Kart World together, and he was like, "Oh, that was pretty fun."
He cares more about creatine and stuff.
Straight up, yeah. But yeah.
Well, what were you going to say about your thing, though?
I swear to fucking God, Jackson, this is the craziest, not craziest, but like the worst retail experience I've ever had.
Oh, yes.
So I get to GameStop I go to the one in Mayfield. And the only reason I went to GameStop is because GameStop was having an event specific. They were like, "This is our midnight release. If you show up at GameStop at 3 p.m., you can prepay for your Switch 2 now.
Yeah.
And then you can come back at midnight and pick it up." And I was like, "All right, awesome. I don't have to go wait in a line starting at 5 p.m. for 7 hours to get a Switch." So I pull up at the GameStop opens at noon, but the actual event doesn't start until 3. So I pull up at like, I'm going to say 10:45. And at 10:45, I am already 9th in line.
Wow.
And the store hasn't even opened yet.
That's crazy.
Which honestly, part of me was surprised. Like, I thought that there would either be way less people or way more people.
I definitely had the advantage of like being from a nowhere place.
Well, there also like weren't that many people at the game. Like, there weren't as many people even at the end as I thought that there would be. I think there only ended up being like 35 to 40. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
And also, the person from the GameStop who was working there was goated because they came out at, I want to say like 12:15, and they wrote on a piece of paper how many bundles they had and how many like individual units they had.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, "We have 18 Mario Kart World bundles and 10 like just the Switch 2 bundles." So you knew like if you were 29th in line, you were just kind of fucked. Which is nice because at least then you hopefully wouldn't waste your day, which a lot of people still did for some reason, but up to you. So we're in line, and the event is supposed to start at 3. So I've been waiting in line. I read my book. I watched a movie. The woman next to me was probably like my mom's age, which I was like, well, this is cool. So we were chatting it up. She was like, "I took off work today to be here." And I was like, "That's goat behavior."
Yeah.
She was like, "I'm going to play games with my son." And I was like, "That's cool. I wish my mom loved me." Anyway. But so I'm waiting in line. And we finally get it to be 3 o'clock. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like 9th in line. So I'm probably not going to be able to pay for mine until like, we'll say 3:30, 3:45 maybe. Because they were like, all right, 2 at a time in the store. We don't want like the line in the store. It's going to back everything up. It's whatever.
Yeah.
The police came at one point. They were like, "You guys can't stand like this way outside of the plaza."
Oh my God, shut up, fucking pigs, bro.
But I will say, the GameStop employee was like standing outside and like making sure we were in the right order. The police officer came and dapped him up and was like, "Hey, can you just like have people flip around the other way?" And he was like, "Sure thing, officer."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Do you know that guy?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "What?" So apparently the police in Mayfield are chill as hell. Because he was just like, "Yeah, I just don't want, like, we've been getting complaints of, like, people being up here, but,
Yeah, because it's Mayfield. It's all, like, old Italians and shit. Complain about anything, man.
Yeah, for fun. But so it gets to be 3 o'clock. We're waiting in line. I swear to God, each person individually was taking, like, 15 to 20 minutes to check out.
Yeah,
I've never seen anyone check out so slowly in my entire life. The guy who was number 5 in line was inside the store for 50 minutes.
That can't be true.
It is. And you want to know why?
Because he wanted to sign up for the GameStop credit card, and then they were like, "Do you want the protection plan?"
It was all. I mean, maybe he did, and that's why it took so long. But I swear, the people checking out our consoles were just like, 1, incredibly slow, and 2, it was just like the classic GameStop, like, oh, I literally walked in, I was like, I don't want a screen protector, I don't want a warranty, I just want the console and the bundle if you have any left. I don't want any Pro Controllers, I don't want any Joy-Cons, I don't want any games. I don't want to sign up for a GameStop Pro membership.
And I also don't want to talk to you, so just ring me up, bitch.
And the guy was like, okay. He was like, we remember when the Joy-Cons had drift? You know, you might want a warranty for that. And I was like, I'm good. And I was like, Nintendo fixed it for free last time. I don't need a warranty. Yeah. And he was like, whatever, man. And I was like, because at that point, I did not I'm 9th in line. Remember. I did not get to purchase my console until 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that's fun.
I was in line for 3 hours.
On top of what you got there at 11 or whatever.
Which, it's not even that, like, I don't mind waiting that long, but it's just, like, none of us could understand, like, why it took so long. Because then I walked into the GameStop, and I was like, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. I just want the bundle. Here's my debit card.
Yes. It really should just be, like, press the buttons on the machine, funny man.
Right. It took me, like, 5 minutes to check out. And that I was the only person who had that experience.
That is crazy, though.
I was like, I don't know. It was wild. Because the guy in line in front of me was like, yeah, my son is at the GameStop in Cleveland Heights, and he got his payment like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
And he was like 12th. I was like, what is going on?
The rich people neighborhood, man.
I guess you're right. But
it's all the kids from Shaker Heights going across the river or whatever.
Yeah. And I will say, I'm glad that I went earlier in the day and that I got there early, because since I was 9th in line, they called us by the same numbers when we went back to like pick up our stuff.
Yeah.
So I actually got my Switch 2 at like 12:09.
Yeah, I had to wait till
the
like
process
1
taking
or some shit.
forever. When we got there to like pick up our orders, they were like, which was nice.
All in all, could have been worse.
Could have been worse. It was great. I had fun. Well, I got really sunburnt because I was like, oh, I don't need to wear sunscreen.
Yeah.
Now my arms look like, I guess this one isn't, it's healed a little.
That one's not bad.
That
one's a little worse, yeah.
Because I was like sitting there and I was like, because I was sitting under like the awning of the shade. And I was like, I'm not going to get sunburned. It's fine. I'm just going to sit here and read my book like the little nerd that I am. And then I'm going to watch a little movie. And then I'm going to be done. And then I got home afterwards and I was like, my arms hurt so
What movie did you watch?
I could make something up to sound like a normal person.
Yeah.
But I watched the newest My Hero Academia movie. And you want to know what? It was pretty good.
All right.
And I had a fun time.
That's fun. All right, well, let's talk about it. We spent $500.
$540 with tax, baby.
We spent a lot of money to play goddamn Mario Kart.
Sure did.
I have a notes app.
You do?
I have a lot of things to say. I don't want to forget anything.
Okay. Well, I feel like you're the Mario Kart pro.
I wouldn't call myself a pro. I just play more than the average person at the function.
Yes.
And I care about I like time trials. And I like trying to get the best line in the fastest time. And I also know I know shit about like how the items work and stuff.
Yes.
So I just know like the optimal strategies and stuff like that. It's not that like if you put me in a lobby of people who like actually care about this shit,
you'll probably still
washed easily, right? But I do have a degree of I think. What am I trying to say here?
I would consider that you.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. You have a bachelor's in Mario Kart. There are definitely people who have like a master's degree and a PhD.
Yeah.
But like I think I'm pretty good at Mario Kart, but you are still significantly better than I am.
Yeah.
I think.
I think that's fair.
So you have a bachelor's. I have maybe an associate.
My opinion
and
should
else,
hold
they
some
have their
weight
GED.
Because
yes.
I have if I had to give myself a Valorant rank of Mario Kart, I would say I'm probably like high diamond, low ascendant.
Okay, cool. That's what I was gonna say.
You know, I'm certainly like I can still understand that LeBron is like triple my skill.
He's radiant, right?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. My first note in my notes app is $80. Ugh. And so everything that I say after this, we should keep in mind that the game cost $80 and Baldur's Gate cost $60, and that's like one of the best games ever made as far as I'm concerned.
I still stand by the fact that I would pay $120.
I would pay $120. I think if I won, here's what I'll say. Okay. If you want a Nintendo Switch 2, do not buy the new Mario Kart. It's not worth your time, in my humble opinion.
Yes.
I just wouldn't do it. I would wait for I would honestly buy like Mario Party or some shit, because the new one's good.
Yeah, Mario Party, and they're adding like all the new mini games with the.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Anyway, I'll get to how I feel about that.
So as we're going through these points, I just
$80. Just remember, yeah. Here,
And
I can say it.
Apparently, this game also took like fucking 9 years to make. Because when did Mario Kart 8 come out? Like,
no, they said that it started out as a Switch 1 title,
but with
a
long wait, you expect a degree of quality. You don't just wait all these years for a new Mario Kart game for it to be fucking dog shit. You know what I'm saying? There was an expectation on Nintendo for something to happen.
Yes.
And I feel that while the game is still like fine, I think it missed the mark a little bit. I would give it, if I had a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it a high 6, low 7.
Okay, I think like mid to high 7.
I was disappointed, man. I don't know what to say.
Well, so I agree with you, but there are some areas where the game is much worse than I ever could have imagined.
Yes.
But there are also some areas that I was like, I didn't think this was going to be fun at all, and I was like very much pleasantly surprised.
Okay, so I'll just start with my points here. The first one, we were talking about this a little bit before the pod.
$80.
There's no costumes for a lot of the characters, which is crazy because it's just like a Blender model that you could like make in like a day.
Add stuff. Yep.
I would have gladly waited like 5 days so I could have the crab with a hat or something. Like I don't think that's very difficult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like, and it's crazy that Donkey Kong only has one costume despite being like everyone's favorite fucking character in the whole goddamn world, and baby Rosalina has like 5.
Yep.
Which is a character that, if we're being real, shouldn't exist for any reason. Also, unlocking the characters, just some of them you have to get randomly through the Kamek transformation. I think that's super fucking dumb.
I hate. I like the costumes, like that you have to like drive around the map and go in different courses and collect the food.
That's
I think
fine.
It's fine. I like that. The Kamek transformations are super fucking annoying.
It's dumb because it's just random. You're not.
Well, and
I want to be
also,
rewarded for like. It's like fine if like I expected it to be like you need to get like the perfect 3 stars or whatever on the Grand Prix and solo to like that would have been fine.
Yeah.
It would have been annoying, but it would have been. This is more annoying, so
yeah,
I'm mad. I think the Grand Prix and Knockout containing these like most of the Grand Prix and Knockout mode. I mean, Knockout is like all the intermission, which is just like, I'm going to get to Knockout in a second. But the Grand Prix has these intermissions where you're driving from one course to another one because it's open world, which just means that like 80% of your time in the Grand Prix is just like spent driving forward with nothing for you to do. And you can do like the single jump trick, but it's actually like not efficient at all because 1, it takes a million years to actually charge the trick. And then 2, like you're going to get hit while you're charging it pretty much every time. And then also it's not even really that much faster.
No, it's not.
Like the ideal strategy in this game is to like get a couple coins and then just like drive straight and stay out of everyone's way, which is just bad game design. If we're being real. The knockout mode being only the transition parts of the tracks is crazy. Because that's like...
Oh, see? Okay, I think maybe we feel differently
about
this.
I like the format of the mode.
Yeah.
But I think it just being all the transition parts is so fucking dumb, dude.
Well, I like Knockout. I've been playing it a lot more than Grand Prix, and I don't really mind the transitions between the courses as much. I feel like there are some, like, I guess they're not cups, but like some tours, we'll say.
Sure.
Like some of the knockout tours I think are better than others, and like the transitions have more fun shortcuts and pathing and all that fun stuff. And some are better than others. Don't ask me off the top of my head what they are because I haven't played the game enough yet to memorize all of them. But the Grand Prix then also have, like, the fact, I thought that the Grand Prix would be isolated like normal Mario Kart format where, there's a course, you do 3 laps of the course, you move on to the next course.
This is what I don't like, is that when in online, when you pick a fucking course, I want to do 3 laps of the course, but 3, sometimes 2 or 3 of the like laps that it counts are just the intermission to get to the course, which is some stupid bullshit, bro. I want to play the goddamn game that you made. I don't want to play the in-between spaces of the game.
Right. Well, and like Knockout Tour is supposed to be the mode where you can do that. So the fact that they brought that, like the pre-reviews of Mario Kart World were like, hey, Grand Prix is the same, which is good. And Knockout Tour is like this new thing that you can play all the intermittent areas, but like if you don't want to and you just like the traditional Mario Kart format, you can play Grand Prix. And then I played Grand Prix, and some of the courses are like 3 laps, next course 3 laps.
Yeah.
But some of them are like intermission is 1 lap, the actual course is lap 2, and then intermission of the next course is lap 3.
Yeah.
And it's like this is just Knockout Tour, but with loading screens in between.
Mm-hmm.
Which the whole point of the thing is that like Grand Prix is traditional Mario Kart, Knockout Tour is like new open world.
And it doesn't make any sense. And so online ends up being, I've seen like, and the American lobbies for online are like fucking stupid because everyone wants to play fucking Rainbow Road, which is probably my least favorite track in the game. Which that might be a little bit of a hot take because it's like pretty, but for the most part, it is just like
it doesn't mean it's good.
Driving forward.
I would agree.
There's like 3 different transitions in the Rainbow Road where it's like literally you sit still for 30 minutes as you get like slowly flashbanged.
Yeah,
and it just
the course itself is beautiful, but it's not like the design of the course is not fun.
No, it's not fun to play, man.
Challenging. Like Rainbow Road is supposed to be the course that you get to at the end because you completed everything else, and it's supposed to be like, oh my god, this is like the hardest course in the game.
Yeah.
But I think it might be my least favorite Rainbow Road.
But so in online,
also the music could be so much better.
In online, the maps are like it gives you choices for which map to pick, and they show you 3 options that are like surrounding maps. And if you pick those, you have to do the intermission to get to the map, and that counts as like 2 of the 3 laps that you do, which I don't want to do. So I've seen the pro lobbies, and everyone just picks random because if you pick random, then you actually get to do 3 laps of the course that you play. But then you don't get to pick the course that you want to play. You're at the whim of an algorithm.
Yeah, you just get a random course,
which is just some bullshit, man.
Yeah,
it's stupid. I hate this shit. Where am I in my notes here? Battle mode still hasn't been touched for like 20 years.
Yeah,
which I don't like. I don't know what they would do. To be fair, I don't have a solution to that one, but like, it'd be nice to see something over there.
I really wanted them to bring back like the bosses of Mario Kart DS.
That would have been nice.
Cool, because like the open world, kind of like a big expansive game.
I thought the free roam is like, I have a thing in here that says, I thought the free roam was like neat, but I'm not 10 years old, so I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, I actually don't think it's neat.
Like there's just like P switches, and when you hit the P switch, it's like, check out those, you got to get those 8 blue coins over there. Isn't that cool?
Well, it's also just like Mario Kart as an open world. Like I like the idea of it. You know, you're like racing between each course. I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But like then making it into like a collectathon doesn't really fucking make any sense because you have to like stop racing and like drive around the world slowly so you can like look at what is around you. Which, don't get me wrong, the one thing I will say, I think the course design is good.
Yeah.
And the game is beautiful. But it's a racing game at the end of the day. And like I want to race and like use funky items and whatever and take the shortcuts. So the fact that there are like some shortcuts that are exclusive to the open world to like get around that you can still see
for sure
in the Grand Prix and Knockout Tour but can't get to, I think sucks. And the fact that I just don't like I don't even really mind, I think, the intermission as much as I thought I was going to, because I thought it was just going to be driving in a straight line. I think the chaos of having 24 people makes it, or 24 like players or whatever, makes it a little bit better. Like driving in the straightaways.
Yeah.
And like driving on the power lines and stuff is like more fun than I thought it would be. I still think it's bullshit that it's not like significantly faster. There's no incentive to do tricks most of the time. Or like driving in a straight line still is like the fastest way to go in a straight line. You would think that like there would be some tech where, you know, either like snaking is still a thing, but like the drifting is different. So it's not. Snaking is like just as fast as driving straight.
Drift, like it swings you out so much farther than before.
Yeah.
So like all that shit is gone. This is another note I have here. The movement tech is like all basically gone. Like driving straight is literally just the best strat. I've watched all of like the first like 24, 48 hour world records of all the courses. And Some of them are cool where like
Yeah.
the strategy is to like pick a lighter character that like has good mini turbo and you like do a bunch of tricks and you're driving on the walls and shit. Like there's like 5 courses that are like that are really cool. And
Shy Guy
then
Bazaar.
every other course is basically just pick Bowser and the car that gives you the most speed and like just drive forward.
Straight. Yeah.
And it's like kind of sad. Like I don't remember which course it is. One of them literally has this like giant like big S hill or something like that, and literally they don't even drift through it. They quite literally like go left a little bit, go right a little bit, and they just drive straight for like 45 seconds, and it's like the least interesting thing of all time.
Yeah.
It's just bad game design. So
well, they and then they introduced all of these new like movement mechanics that could make it fun. And then after like testing them,
but they didn't design the courses faster. In a way to use them.
They designed some of them, but not all of them.
Not all of them.
Like Shy Guy Bazaar, fun as hell. The Great Question Block Ruins, love that one. Really good.
It's good.
The beach, Salty Shores, is that it? It's the big, like, fucking Italian-looking beachside vacation, European city-looking one. That one's cool.
I don't like that one.
But then, like, it's just
I thought the Bowser's Castle was cool. That's like Bowser's Castle kind of rocks.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, they're all really well, like, designed, they're beautiful, nice-looking courses, but not all of them are fun.
No.
Which sucks.
It's unfortunate, man.
And also a lot of time taking the fucking shortcuts is even faster.
No, it doesn't make any sense, man.
Like, I played the game, and I was like, all right, I now understand that there's going to be, like, a big skill gap between people who, like, know all the tricks and can do it and, like, get all the shortcuts and people who can't. And that's going to be, like, the differentiating factor between Mario Kart 8. But not every course has those things.
Mm-hmm.
So some of them are just going to be like who can drive in a straight line the fastest.
It's interesting because they changed some things to make like the competitive balance of the game better, which I liked. But then they either didn't think about other stuff or were malicious in their intent, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like they changed how a lot of the items work, which I think is good. Like the shock only hits people in front of the person who has the shock, which means you can't smuggle the shock to first and then hit everyone behind you, which I think is good. That's a fair change. The bullet is a little bit worse, which I think is good because there's more people now.
I was say
the boo also only steals from people in front of you, and it doesn't make you completely invisible, which I think is good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, and they added more stuff like for like the middle of the road, like pack sort of group. Which is good. I think the feather is a cool addition in the item pool, like in concept, but you never use it. So most of the time, the feather just ends up being a worse coin because you're in first, and instead of getting a coin, you get a feather, which is arguably worse because at least the coin increases your speed by like 0.4% or whatever.
The feather slows you down a lot.
It slows you down so much, and 90% of the courses don't even have a shortcut that requires it. So there's no point in it existing, man. It doesn't do anything. If it gave you a speed boost after you jump, at least you could like make up the time that you spent in the air and not on the ground, but it doesn't do that.
Yeah. Or like I was like, oh, I'm gonna experiment, see if I can use it like sort of in the same fashion that you use a mushroom to like get around like a textured area that you would normally be slowed down by.
Yeah.
Nope. No. Because if you jump over the area, then even if you get past it, you just lose all of your speed immediately.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that was cool, I guess.
But then so like the dominant strategy has just been like, if you're in first, which I usually am. No offense.
Okay.
The dominant strategy is to just let people past you and then just like drive behind them so you get a better item at the first item set. You draft behind them to get the big speed boost to get in front of them, and then you have a good item in front of the people who just got the coin or the feather.
Yeah.
Which is just again just bad game design.
Yeah.
If there's only one strategy that you can do. Like how do you counter that? I really don't know.
You can't. If they wanted bagging to be a problem, because I feel like in 8, it was like fine. Like there were ways that you could still be better.
Yeah.
And like there were courses that were clearly like front running courses and courses that were like, all right, if I bag, I'm gonna win here. Bagging is like,
it's the only thing that matters, especially in the intermission stages where there's like basically no shortcuts. So the dominant strategy is to get like a golden mushroom and then wait until you get onto the like actual course that you wanted to play in the first place, and then just take all of the shortcuts, and you'll win every time.
I also don't understand, like I just don't understand where they're coming from with the whole thing is like, all right, well now we have tricking. And that's like the new feature that we have in the game. And to be fair, tricking is very fun. I was like, this is going to be hard and I'm not going to like it. It's pretty easy to do and it's very fun. And when you land, like, I think DK Spaceport is the one that has like the walls. I think.
Yes.
DK Spaceport, lots of fun moments where you can like grind on the rail and then like jump
the walls
onto a
are
wall
actually slower to take, by the way.
And like flip. Yeah. And then like flip back and forth on the wall. That's what I'm getting at. It's like, it's very fun, but it's not actually going to help you win.
There's no reason to do it though.
So like, what is the point? Why would they add like this new method of like difficulty and skill level that doesn't actually benefit you in any way?
Dude, and I hate the water transitions because you can like you can trick off the waves, and you can trick like after you get a big jump and then you like dip down a little bit, you can trick on the upswing.
Yeah.
But that would only be cool if there was like stuff to do in the water, because for the most part, it's literally just open water. Literally everyone drives straight and just spams their item because there's no reason to like hold it. So you just fucking hit the trick button for like 30 seconds straight. And sometimes you get ahead of people and sometimes you don't. And it just depends on whether or not people want to use their item.
The only courses that I like the water on are Dandelion Depths, because you're like in the cave and it like tears down a lot. So you can like, once you get in the water, you get your first trick and then you go down and then you use that boost to like hop over the next tier, and you could just like kind of do it over and over again, and that's fun. Or in Wario Shipyard, by the way, love, very beautiful, very cool, good atmosphere. That water is at least like more interesting and there's things to do.
Yeah, at least there's like ramps coming out of it, and there's like barrels you gotta avoid, some shit like that.
Cheap Beach, or is it? No.
Yeah,
is it Cheap?
I don't know.
What's the Cheap course? Cheap Falls?
Cheap Falls,
maybe?
Yeah.
It's the like
the fall Japanese
Falls one. Yeah. That one really missed the mark for me.
I think
like
so too.
So many of the courses are like, some of them are seriously so fun, and I'm like, wow, Mario Kart does not have a better course than this.
Yeah.
And then there's like Moo Moo Meadows.
I fucking hate Moo Moo Meadows, man.
And also, the fact that like you can drive on the power lines, like on some of the straightaways, and it's like, oh, okay, look, I'm like tricking and whatever. But like the only way that tricking on a rail is faster is if you spam it in a straight line, and the power lines go boop 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 boop. So if you try and trick in a straight line, you're just gonna fall off.
You fall off probably into the off road, and you have to like sad drive back on the road as you're now in 24th, which sucks ass.
I have a clip that I took that I need to send to you after this. It's fucking fire.
Yeah, and there's like cool moments I've had. Like I got a bullet bill into first place the other day, which was kind of fun. But like, I don't know, man. I just feel like I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, one of my notes is not crazy about all this. That's all I wrote.
I think it's, again, in some ways, it's like way more, like the straightaways, I think are much more fun than I thought they were going to be. Like there's a little bit more to do than I anticipated.
Yeah.
And the course design is really good for the most part. There are some stinkers.
One of my notes is, where's Metal Mario?
That's a great question.
Why doesn't that have a costume? That's like so easy. That's like literally like default Blender. You just apply a reflection.
Texture mapping.
Yeah, like it's not.
You just go take away all the texture that I just put and make it metal.
I saw a post.
So sad.
I forget where. Maybe it was a YouTube comment where someone said, wow, my $80 soundtrack came with a cool game inside, which is kind of how I feel about it. Like the music is like better than the game, to be honest.
People have been saying that, and I just don't think I agree. I
thought some of the remixes they did were cool, and I don't know.
No. Some of them are really good. It's just like, and maybe I was just way too excited because people were like, the soundtrack is, everyone on IGN is like, the soundtrack is the best that it's ever been.
Yeah.
And there are like some standout bangers. Like some of the remixes are really, really good. I was super disappointed by Rainbow Road. The music is like fine,
and that's kind of it.
and that's kind of it.
I thought it just
And I mean,
maybe I'm just tired of hearing the Mario Kart 8 songs all over again. You know what I mean?
that's fair.
And it's just nice to hear something new. And they did some of the old songs that we haven't heard in a while, and that was cool. And it's crazy that they get like that much of a jazz band together to like do all that in the first place. You know,
It's pretty sweet.
it's cool. But that,
It's
like,
not that, yeah.
that's
sorry,
kind of
it's
my
not that I don't
overall
like it.
thoughts. Like the presentation was a lot better than the actual game, which is how people felt about like the mobile app. But it's
Yes.
not how people are supposed to feel about an $80 launch title for a new console.
Right.
So that being said, I've been playing more Balatro than I have Mario Kart on my
Okay.
new Switch.
I've been playing a lot of Mario Kart.
I mean, I've also been playing Mario Kart, but like, you know,
There is something about it that I do just think is fun.
Yeah, it's a fun game, like I said, but like, I don't think I'll be playing it that much compared to the other games, man. I'm still gonna crush everyone at the function for sure, but
oh yeah, you will.
I'm still gonna practice to be able to do that. But
Duh.
outside,
I
of
kind
that,
of
like
I was really expecting more for it being like open world Mario Kart game.
the online is like actually ruined for me because most of it is just the transitions.
Yeah, I mean,
which are just not
I haven't
fun.
I haven't touched it yet.
The transitions are not better than the actual courses, and most of the courses I'm also not a fan of.
Yeah.
So like by default, they're all like F tier tracks for me.
I think for me, they're like 50-50 S and A and then D and F.
Yeah.
Like some of the courses are standout bangers, and I'm like, wow, this course is beautiful and it's fun. Or it's Cheap Cheap Falls.
It blows chunks, bro. What can I say? Like,
it's definitely not worth $80. But technically speaking, I only paid $50, so I'm not as upset.
I did have a thought. I was like, honestly,
I
think I
wouldn't have bought the game
no.
if it didn't come with the Switch. I wouldn't have done it.
I think I would have bought just the regular Switch if I knew this.
Like
I don't think I would have gotten the bundle. We were all looking at, there was like one guy behind us in line. They were asking if everyone wanted the goddamn bundle or the regular Switch. And there was one guy who said the regular Switch. And we all turned to him like, what the fuck are you doing, loser pussy baby boy?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, that guy was honestly kind of smart. I'm not going to lie.
Well, it's also just like, it was the only launch game. And you could be like, oh, well, what about Bravely Default HD? I'm not going to fucking buy that. And I will say, shout out, I'm happy the Deltarune came out same day. This is huge for Toby Fox.
This is huge for nerds everywhere, yeah.
But, like, Nintendo should have just been doing more.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Toby Fox was providing a launch title for Nintendo, but Nintendo should have been providing a launch title for Nintendo.
Metroid Prime 4's got a lot of ground to make up here.
I'm not going to get it no matter what. Unless it's like a game of the year and it's amazing and people are like, you gotta play it. Yeah. I'm not gonna get fucking Metroid Prime 4.
I've got hopes, but I'm definitely gonna be waiting for the goddamn reviews to roll in on that one.
Yeah.
But whatever, man. I think like, you know, it's a strange miss for Nintendo on a release console game.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy because apparently so far the Switch 2 is like setting record numbers for launch units sold.
It's crazy.
They're at like 3 million or some shit.
And I mean, you know, they're still in some ways like miles ahead of the PS5 or whatever, and Xbox is in the fucking dust. No one even gives a shit about them anymore. But like, I'm thinking about years past, like, oh man, the 3DS had Mario 3D World. That shit was fire.
I just feel like there was no, like, they needed a good, like, Mario Kart is fun. And I have very much enjoyed playing Mario Kart so far. But I've kind of already done literally everything you can do by yourself.
Yeah.
Except for unlocking mirror mode, which, no offense, I just don't really want to do.
I don't give a shit about.
I don't want to go and collect 40 P Switch missions and find 10 Peach medallions because it's not fun.
I also don't want to wait for them to add like 200cc or like other courses that are like actually good.
The fact that 200cc isn't there on launch is wild.
Yeah, that is wild to me.
And also, if they don't, and this is not like a, I'm fine with it not being there at launch. And obviously, I've already bought the game, so what am I going to do? Fucking return it? No. But if they don't continue to add content like they did with 8 Deluxe, I'm going to be blown away.
I am going to be pissed for sure.
Like, this game being $80 means that this has to be the best Mario Kart ever.
And it's one of my least favorites so far.
It's
in the bottom half, I think. Like I've got Mario Kart 8 above this. I've got Wii above this. I got 3DS above this. I got DS above this.
Yes.
I don't got the mobile game. I think I got Double Dash above this.
Double Dash is good. I didn't really play a lot of Double Dash, so I can't speak on that. I enjoyed it again. I enjoyed it way more in some ways than I thought I was going to. But I still think overall, ball dropped.
Ball dropped, man. Like it's a fucking new year, because it kind of is with the new Nintendo Switch 2.
I think also if I had more friends to like play it with, that's the thing about launch games is that like Breath of the Wild being launched for Switch 1 is like I just got my Switch and now I know that I for sure have an experience that I can sink like 60 hours into by myself because I just purchased this product. And like sure, if I want to show a friend, that's like cool and whatever. But the fact that essentially a game, it's like Mario Kart is fun by yourself, obviously, and like you can get good at the courses and take all the shortcuts and whatever. But at its roots, it's a party game, or at least like an online game. And if the online sucks and you don't really have that many friends to play with,
shrug.
Like I feel like by the end of the Switch 2's life cycle, I will probably have played a shit ton of Mario Kart World, and I'll be like, all right, whatever, it was like worth the $80.
But right now, it feels like a missed investment.
It feels like a missed investment.
So that's where I am too, man. But whatever, man.
Will say, Pokemon Scarlet runs like a dream. Crazy. Looks beautiful. I went back and I started playing the DLC again, and I'm like, this is a totally different game. I don't even remember what it looks like because it runs so well.
Really?
It's wild.
I have been saying people are re-speed running like Breath of the Wild because the shit loads so much faster.
Yes. Another thing, by the way, one game that I like, you should not buy the Switch 2 to play Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
No.
They should have been good on launch. I'm just using it to make myself feel a little bit better about the fact that I've already bought it and I have it in my hands. And also, I liked Pokemon Scarlet. And I played it all the way through anyway. Even though it ran like shit. And the performance was awful. And it does look so much better and run so much. It's actually wild. I was like playing it and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like I'm playing Pokemon like on my PC.
I was playing Balatro. Nice. I was like, this shit looks nicer. I don't know if it's placebo, but like...
Yes. But like Pokemon does actually run so much better. I've seen people compare like other like Mario Odyssey also apparently got a day one patch. That shit looks the same.
I don't know. I haven't booted it up.
It has HDR and now runs in 4K at 60 FPS, but like you can't fucking tell because the textures just aren't that detailed anyway.
Yeah.
Like people have been like, look at how much better it looks. Look at this free update. And I'm like,
look, you can really take in all of Mario's mustache blowing in the wind. Isn't that crazy?
You can't though. The screen is too small. It looked nice. It's again crazy that it's not an OLED, but it does look nice. Like the display for an LCD looks really nice. I can't believe how shite the battery life is. But the display looks nice. But like it's just not. There just needed to be like more at launch.
Yeah.
And I got it because I'm a diehard Nintendo fan, and I'm just gonna play all my old games on my Switch 2. And like I was just gonna upgrade no matter what. It doesn't matter. Because it's a hobby of mine and I enjoy it. But if you're like someone who's like, oh, like I really want like the next generation of gaming, in my house.
Which you don't really like go to Nintendo for that to begin with, but at the very least, you should on launch get a banger game that you can sink a lot of time to.
Yeah, and Mario Kart World, that ain't it.
It's just not it.
I'm very excited to play with my friends, especially Ethan, and I think it'll change my mind a little bit because playing it with people will make it more fun. But I've kind of already done like everything you could do in single player, except for running through all the courses for the next 50 hours until I unlock all the NPC characters.
Yeah.
Which is not a good way to keep someone playing the game, I will say.
That being said, we're giving this an IGN score of 1 big thumbs down.
I love that Donkey video where he goes through all the IGN scores, and it's like, this is game of the year. 8 out of 10. This is the worst game I've ever played. The optimization is awful, and the controls are bad.
7.9 out of 10. It has a little something for everyone.
And that's why we're giving it an 8 out of 10. And it's like, this is Balatro, up for game of the year and indie game probably of all time. And that's why we're giving it an 8 out of 10. It's like, shut the fuck up.
IGN, anyway. Those bastards, man. They don't understand. They never got it.
They just don't get us, bro. They don't understand gaming.
They don't get gaming. They just stick to reviewing movies or whatever the fuck they did before.
They did?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. I think there's movie reviews on IGN, which is funny, but
hilarious.
This being said, now is time for the podcast segment that everyone was looking forward to this week. This is
Damn right.
Henry's Weekly Fish Fact. What you got for us, man?
I do have a fact prepared. I just want you to know.
Okay.
But I also want to bring up something from last time I was here, which at this point was 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I may have a tough time getting this criteria down because it is...
I did give you a tall order.
You did give me a tall order, and you said, explode Jackson's brain with knowledge. And then in parentheses, I have one sentence. I think that I can explode. Maybe. Okay. I'm hoping that I can explode your brain with knowledge.
I'm excited.
I don't know if I can keep it under a sentence long.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Any attempt to service this enormous request, I think, is a job well done today.
Okay, thank you.
So, with bated breath, Henry's Weekly Fish Fact.
With bated breath. Okay. Did you know? That's right. Don't look at me like that. There's a fish called the crucian carp. It's a specific breed of carp.
Mm-hmm.
And its cousin, the goldfish, which we are all familiar with. But goldfish in the winter, when they are trapped like under frozen water, you know, when it gets really cold and all the like surface water freezes on a lake, they can convert lactic acid in their body into alcohol, and then they excrete it through their gills. Which might be like, well, what the fuck does that mean? They get drunk to stay alive in the winter and stay warm enough. And it lets them survive for months without oxygen since it's all, you know, frozen in the fucking water.
Whoa.
But they get drunk, and if they were humans when they did it, they would have a blood alcohol concentration of 0.4.
Whoa, that's like really bad.
Yeah. We would die.
Humans would, hella die for sure.
But they convert their lactic acid into alcohol, and then they excrete it through their gills. Whoa. And they use it to survive in the winter.
That was perfect.
They're the only animal in the world that does that.
Because drinking alcohol makes you warmer. Driver's ed lied about this.
Right.
They said if your car is frozen and you have to stay in it because it's in the snow and you can't move it, that you shouldn't drink alcohol because it's false that it makes you warmer. But that's not true because it does it for fish. So checkmate, Cindy from Driver's Ed. I think that's your name.
Technically, I'll give you a one sentence summary. How about that?
Okay.
They are so committed to their survival that they turn their blood into alcohol and pee it out of their face. Boom.
That's a great one sentence summary. That was amazing. That was the best fish fact yet, for sure.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that I had to wait 3 weeks for that.
Good. I'm glad.
That was
But
awesome.
now I got to keep it up. I'm actually glad that you
Scope
asked
creep.
because I've had this prepped for like a week and a half, and I was like, if he forgets to ask me, I'm gonna be so sad. I'm gonna bring it up myself.
No, it's Henry's weekly fish fact. I was gonna text you while you were in Japan to ask for a fish fact when Zach was on, but I forgot about it.
Oh, do you wanted a fish fact from me, like for Zach?
Yeah, but I just forgot to text you.
That's okay.
So that honestly that makes up for last week though. That was amazing.
Fish fact number 2: the cheap sheet from Mario Kart World has a course and it sucks ass.
Oh man, but that's crazy.
Isn't that cool?
Wow, that nature is beautiful, man.
Isn't it awesome?
That's fucking awesome, dude. That does not blow chunks.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This is not something I knew, but
I don't know what the opposite of blowing chunks is, but
sucking.
Maybe we should just, yeah.
You can fill it in. You can figure it out on your own.
All right, enough of Henry's Japanese. Let's get out of here. What did we learn today?
I think we learned a lot about fish, and we learned that if you haven't gotten Mario Kart World yet, you should probably wait.
We learned if you have fish, they cannot play the new Nintendo Switch 2, unfortunately. That's a feature that'll be coming in the Nintendo Switch 3.
Yeah. I hope they make a regular console after this.
What else did we learn? I don't know.
Yeah.
We learned that you should go to strip clubs in Japan with people from North Korea because you'll have a good time.
Yeah, think about how many people can say that they've done that. Probably not many.
I guess
probably
3.
There were 3 of us.
At least 3 other people. Yeah.
But that's a pretty small percentage of the population.
That's not a lot of people. So you did use up all your luck on that, for sure.
That was worth it, though. That was fun. That's a story that I can tell for my entire life.
Sam definitely would not have enjoyed that.
No.
That's funny, though.
We were already feeling like kind of awkward because we were like, these people are just trying to do their jobs and we don't want to like objectify them.
But that's their job.
Yeah, but like I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm good. But it was fun.
You would rather just, bring out your Switch 2 and play around in Mario Kart.
And you want to know what? If I had it at the time, I would have done that.
And that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here.